Having lived here as long as we have, I can't imagine life without this valley.
Mm.
You know, Grandpa's been here for, how many years, and then we take over, and the river flows by, but I get up every morning and can't imagine not having a valley to be part of everybody's lives, and
Mm-hmm.
can't imagine any government destroying valleys anywhere for doing a hydro project.
Life for us and many of the people, all the people in the valley, has virtually been put on hold for many years now because of Site C Dam. And it's always tough to make plans and to look ahead to the future and what a person wants to do in every aspect, as far as making improvements, on the farm and on your house and home and it's so frustrating for many of us and not just the people that live in the valley, but the people who care about the values of the valley, of just that we have a government that's in the midst of trying to destroy what we have here, and when there's so many alternatives to it now, it's so unneeded, and we don't even need the power from this project. So it's just bad. Site C is just bad on every level that you look at it, and it's so unnecessary, and it's so frustrating that despite all of that, this government just forces it ahead, and so. And of course, we're so encouraged by the level of opposition that is growing and growing on a steady basis. Unfortunately, it's at the last minute here, but that's just the way those things work. That's when people get motivated to, and it becomes very real and immediate for people to respond to.
Well, and the reality of, their timelines, we've received, a verbal notice in March, and they want us out of here by Christmas. You don't just pack up a farm and buildings and relocate.
Yeah.
To where?
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't happen, and so BC Hydro is, well, they've always had timelines, but they never meet them, and and ourselves, we're not focusing on where we're moving to. We're focusing on stopping this project, and you stop fighting and you die, and I'm not ready to do that, and I'm not going to do that. The proposed highway goes through everybody's homes on this level.
Yeah, it goes through, well, of course, here alone, it's destroying our place and Arlene's mom's place. Then it goes right through our campground, basically through the whole infrastructure of the campground that we run. And then it goes through 3 more homes, or too close to 3 more homes, out of 4. So almost every, they pretty much got it going through everybody's home in Bear Flat.
They refuse to move it any direction, one way or the other.
Yeah, we've asked them. I mean, not that our key is trying to work with them and put the highway somewhere, but we've suggested to them, put the highway back up against the base of the hills where it wouldn't go through anybody's home. It shouldn't really impact that much farmland, and they say this is where it's going to go, pretty much. And the trouble with this realignment, of course, obviously, is everybody that lives here has to move back. So what you would end up happening with this road realignment is everybody would have to move back onto farmland anyway. So the destruction of farmland happens no matter where this road goes.
How many years ago did we put up the solar panels?
Yeah, I think 5 years now. Yeah.
So we've been generating power back into the grid, and those solar panels have been sitting there, not harming anything,
Yeah.
producing power.
Yeah.
you know, on a rainy, cloudy day, we're still producing power. And if the government would put that much, you know, $9 billion into incentives for people to put up solar panels or do alternative energies.
There's no way the province of BC would even contemplate building another hydroelectric dam anywhere but up north here in the Peace. And it's, you know, it's more or less out of sight, out of mind. It's a very conservative riding politically. It's what people have always done for generations now up here, is just, you know, resource extraction and build big projects. And Site C is one of many problems up here. You know, the whole shale gas industry and LNG exports around the world. You know, if what Christy Clark hoped would happen did happen, the impacts to northeastern BC would be just overwhelming. You know, phenomenal, and you know, and I just can't imagine what that would look like. And I think probably the number one impact that we would all have, that should be the elephant in the room, is water. What's going to happen to our water, our groundwater? They don't have a very good idea of what's happening underneath our feet with the water, with fracking.
That?
Arlene and I stand a very good chance of losing our home, you know, and having this project stopped. You know, that could very likely happen. But in my mind, that would still be a win.
We could relocate, but we would still have this valley.
Yeah.
That's not, you know, that is very productive but yeah, that's what we face because of the highway relocation.
See, because what they've told us, what our lawyers have told us, if they get this highway even just partially built and the project gets stopped, they'll probably just carry on and finish the highway. The first building I restored, you know, historical building, was the old schoolhouse. That's Arlene mom lives in it now. We converted it into a house, and it was really dilapidated and ready to collapse. And I looked at that thing for years actually, and finally we decided, well, I'm going to try restore it. And I remember telling Arlene's dad, he really liked to see old buildings around, and he didn't want to ever see them destroyed and burned down. And so I remember telling Irie, well, I'm going to try restore that one, and either it's going to work and I'll restore it, or it's going to get piled up and burnt. I'm going to do something with it. And he was worried about that, but it worked anyway. He was pretty happy to see it getting restored and seeing that it was going to work.
Anytime we find an artifact in the garden, we put it in the display case.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, it is amazing that most all of this items in here are from locally, and mostly from your family, due to the fact that they don't throw anything away.
We're keepers.
Yeah.
And it's really neat to have the families come, you know, the families that were raised in this house come here,
Yeah.
you know, and see their home that they were raised in, and then, you know, their memories of the different things that they remember as kids being in the house, and it's really neat to have those treasures.
Yeah, Arlene and I are directors of the Historical Society in Fort St. John, and the president, she's a very good piano player, so she got playing away on there, and she was actually quite impressed by that piano, and she did a very good job.
Yeah, Grandpa bought that for a church when he was in Dawson, and then
he donated it to a church, and then when they didn't need it anymore, they gave it back to the family.
And then Grandpa gave it to us girls.
And the
Ken does not want to move it again.
No, that's actually, that piano is my main motive for stopping Site C, because I do not want to move that piano again. I was a lot younger when we moved it in here. I don't want to move it out again. So. We think there's a very good chance this project will be stopped. And meanwhile, BC Hydro has gone through the process of trying to scrub evidence of, of man being in the valley and useful structures for people to continue to be in the valley, so. And we're facing the same prospect right now. BC Hydro wants us moved off this property, and probably next spring, by this time next year, if they get their way, our house will be bulldozed and gone, and whatever we don't move off of here will be gone. And that seems almost to be their motive, just to get to scrub the landscape of any evidence of human habitation and attachment and people's hopes and dreams and the history of an area. It's like they just want to get rid of that, because that's not of any benefit to them. They don't want that. They just want to make a sterile environment where they can go in and flood it for a hydroelectric project.